Hey everyone, it's me, Stagger. I still need to do this freaking talk about, and I'm going to be doing it right now. Today is March 21st, and I have 2 weeks before the next season comes out. Most likely this will be posted on the next season, so yeah, I have a time limit. Yay! Anyway, so another problem is that I cannot use Daily Motion anymore as to reference the video because of the fact that it's going ad crazy. So therefore, I'll still do my best on in terms of how to on making this thing. Oh, and last time I recorded a talk about on this was on June 30th, 2014. So yeah, it's been a while since I've actually seen this episode. So regardless, I'll still do my best, and I'll still be asking the following questions that I actually written down so I won't forget them later. Anyway, so as soon as I find where I put freaking Total Recorder, I'll go ahead and start this talk about. Oh, here it is. So, and now let's begin. Hey everyone, it's me, Stagger. So as I mentioned in that video earlier, I'm not going to be having any video references to go off of, yay! So I'm going to be laying off the animation errors, although there were a few. But anyway, so, Season 4 finale! It was terrible. I'm serious. It had so much hype built up to it, and it didn't use any of it! Because here's the thing, all those bad foreshadows, the Fang, the Pony of Shadows and all of that, was it just referencing Tirek, or is it referencing something that's going to be in Season 5? That's still something that never been answered. What is with those things? I mean, yeah, we got the Rainbow Power exposition pretty much figured out even before it even came out and, revealed to us, but, it was still just plain insanity on the reason why they didn't even bother continuing with the foreshadows. I want to see more of those bad foreshadowings come out. Not only that, but this really relied on Ex Machina, which really agitated me quite a bit. Because, as you can see from the thumbnail pic, he had his chance of absorbing Twilight's magic without the needing of having the whole impasse to where they exchanged her friends for Twilight's magic. Yes, that actually happened. But guess what? They could have done it a lot earlier without any negotiation necessary. Remember that punch? Or somewhat of a punch, where he pretty much threw her into a thing of rocks? Yeah. That was the perfect time to drain her magic there. She was struggling to get out, if you saw that. She was... It just... What the heck, Tirek? You're just as bad as Generation 3. I'm sorry. As much as many people love this battle, I cannot like it just for that simple throw. Oh my gosh. I am so glad to get that off of my freaking chest. You have no idea how many times I wanted to say this. Oh my gosh. That feels so good. It really does. But now let's go ahead and go for even deeper meanings that most people or ponies or whatever you want to be considered as would overlook. Alright, so let's first start off with the song here. Alright, of course, the song. I don't know what it's exactly called, but this song really does irritate me. For the very fact that they tend to forget that Celestia and Luna rise the sun and the moon each freaking day. As the sun rises, so does the moon. But Celestia and Luna, you're controlling them, aren't you? Unless you're saying that you're frauds? Is that the case? Because I seriously don't see how that would really be uplifting or relevant to Twilight's situation. If the sun rises and so does the moon, you're saying that it's going to be a new day, but Celestia and Luna control each day. and from the heart of, I can't remember how exactly Cadence went, but at least Cadence is a little bit more acceptable, even though that she is the fandom shipping's mascot. But I digress. But something that does irk me about Cadence, though, is that her singing voice does, in this episode, sounds a lot like Sweetie Belle's. And in terms of her first singing appearance, which was in This Day Aria, I don't know why they decided, let's just let's just have Michelle Graver sing Cadence, because Michelle Graver is the voice actor of Apple Bloom, is also the singer of both Apple Bloom and Sweetie Belle, so let's have her sing Cadence as well, because she doesn't have a part in this episode. Black Griffin, if you can please explain that, I would be grateful. Anyway, so continuing on, I mean, really, that song is pretty much meaningless if both Celestia and Luna control the sun and the moon, right? Unless if what they're saying is that Celestia and Luna are actually controlling Twilight's fate, which would actually make sense concerning Season 3, Episode 13, where it pretty much revealed all that, right? Anyway, another thing that really irked me was actually the day and night cycle. At first it started around, I guess, the afternoon, where the Duke and Duchess of Meritonia appeared. Then it went to night, then Celestia had that prophetic dream, and then it went back to day, and then back to night, where the dream came alive, and then back to day, where they realized that Discord pretty much disobeyed, or pretty much betrayed them. And then it went back to night for whatever reason, for reasons unknown, I guess, other than the fact that they would have thought that, what would be funny if we let Twilight try to control the sun and the moon that one day? Ha. The sun is supposed to be up. Even Twilight's bamboozled on this reason, because there's no way that Luna and Celestia would have been able to actually control the sun and the moon during this time. And as seen in Season 4, Episode 1, we clearly see Luna lowering the moon. Or rather, raising the moon, actually. So would this mean that actually at certain points that Celestia and Luna actually raise the sun and the moon, and they actually stay up there until an hour or two have passed, and then they just slightly move it a little bit, and then they lower it, and then I don't know what the case is, but yeah, that'll be a good theory to look into. Those theorists out there, look into that, please. I would like that. Anyway, so continuing on. Yeah, the day and night cycle was a little bit off. Not only that, but also during the fight scene, if you noticed, the color of the sky was turned to red until it cut to Twilight's house, which then got blew up. Then when it came back to fighting Tirek, it turned back to red. Now, this red is supposed to be representing of sundown or dawn. Either one. But the thing is, the main reason why they do this is because it's supposed to represent heat. Red represents heat. So then they thought, okay, during this entire fight scene, the sky's going to be red, and it's going to show off heat. Also, how strong is that freaking telescope? Dang. If it could see Tirek that far away, which is assumed to be all the way down to the Badlands, which I have no idea how Tirek even got down to the Badlands. That was never explained. Also, later on, it's been shown that he was on top of a mountain on Everfree Forest, or the Whitetail Woods, or I don't know. And that random destruction that he did during the time was completely random. Like, the problem is, Tirek, if you're gonna take over, why are you just destroying like random bushes? What did they do to you? If I was a villain, I would take care of destroying the ponies first. Look, you're probably using the ponies as your slaves. I get that. Sombra gets that. Sombra pretty much indulged in slavery. But you know, Tirek, I don't know. He just hates trees, I guess. And also, Tirek's eyesight is just as strong as a telescope, apparently. Furthermore, another thing about Tirek, and something that really irks me about the entire MLP universe, is that why is it just Equestria? Why is Equestria the only place of conflict? Is it because it's also the connection of Tartarus and Heaven, apparently? Because those are both accessible places seen in Season 2. And it's been mentioned that Heaven's a place in Season 4. And when Applejack said it's a little slice of heaven, is rent too expensive in there? Anyway, so yeah, it's been proved, those places actually exist in the MLP universe. So with that in mind, is it possible that Equestria is so important because of those two places and is inside of Equestria? Or is it because they didn't really think about the rest of the world, even though there's Saddle Arabia and the Griffin Kingdom and Meritonia and Society and all that? I don't know what's going on in DHX's mind, but the case in point though, like, why is Equestria so important? Is more important than the rest of the world, you know, because the rest of the world is, you know, just as important. I mean, even the first Dragon Quest, not the episode Dragon Quest, this kind of Dragon Quest. The main villain, the Dragon Lord, said, "I will give you, my goal is to take over the world, and if you join me, I'll give you half of it." Wow, now that's a villain. Tirek is just like, honestly, if Tirek were to see the Dragon Lord, he would be freaking jealous. In fact, if he were to see his Gen 1 self, he would be freaking jealous. Even though Gen 1 Tirek only wished to create a chariot of darkness to spread the rainbow of darkness around, but still, that itself is a huge threat. It's a bigger threat than Gen 4 Tirek. Honestly, G4 Tirek looks like the runaway rainbow for G1 Tirek. And that's what I meant about earlier when I said you're just as bad as Generation 3. And to be honest, Generation 3 isn't too bad, but that's for a fan quibble. Anyway, so yeah. This Tirek is just so lame. As much as I want to like him because he did everything as a villain right, I can't because he's done so many stupid things. At least Generation 1 Tirek had a goal. He wanted to spread darkness around the world. This Tirek just wants to take over Equestria for what reason? He hates friendship. I guess that's a good enough reason. But that wasn't truly explained. Anyway, so another thing is that... Okay, so let's go ahead and go on a different topic here. Celestia's decision on using Discord in order to pretty much take down Tirek. This was actually a good decision on her part, because no one really cares much for Discord except for the guy that collects Discord lamps. Seriously, what the heck? Anyway, so not many people or ponies really like Discord all that much, so it's okay if he's pretty much disposable. And she sees that opportunity to be like, okay, we're not going to put any pony in danger, So what we're going to be doing is use a disposable Draconiquus as a measure to pretty much lock him up. And then when that plan failed, they decided, well, that failed. So what we're going to be doing is that we're going to be presenting all our Alicorn magic into Twilight's body, without even telling her how to control her magic or anything else in between. So with not only that, but Cadence is also gonna do the same thing, because apparently for whatever reason, for reasons unknown, I guess Tirek knows about Cadence, even though Cadence had been seen to be growing up as a teenager from the flashbacks of Twilight's memory during her foalhood, and pretty much, so basically she was actually kind of growing up during the time after Tirek was sealed up. So what's the deal with that? You know, Celestia and Luna could have shared equal opportunity to give both Cadence and Twilight up their magical powers, and then they would both run away somewhere where it's safe. Instead, they decided, okay, let's just all give it up to Twilight and see how everything works out. Now, that in itself wasn't really the best idea out there. And plus, you know, Celestia again is actually trying to avoid taking action. She only helped out that one time during the whole endeavor of the Canterlot wedding. That's because there's so many spectators around. And then as soon as one zapped to the horn, bam, she just decides to give up and just send Twilight and her friends off to another wave of, you know, getting the elements of harmony and then trying to make things better again. And again, and another thing about this, man, I can make this an entire talk about, for goodness sake, is that freaking Queen Chrysalis was actually trying to feed her kingdom, or queendom, I guess. And so really, this is why she's my favorite villain, because she's not. She's just trying to feed her hungry kingdom. Give or take, it wasn't the most elegant way, but it's for her kingdom. What the heck, Celestia? What the heck? Anyway, so continuing on with current events. She delegates all problems to Twilight. She delegates Twilight to all of her problems. And this really makes me question Celestia's decisions, or really actions, as a ruler. Honestly, I would believe that Luna could potentially be a better princess than Celestia. Heck, Cadence even has a better ruler, mainly because she actually does take action, even though she hasn't been seen taking too much action, as in like putting up a barrier and all that, but that's still more than what Celestia ever does. In fact, during the whole issue of the Canterlot wedding, she could have easily put up a barrier just as well as shining armor. Oh my gosh. Celestia, you lazy alicorn, I hate you. Anyway, so continuing, personal conflicts aside. Yes, this is sounding a lot more than a fan quibble than an actual talk about, where it's actually using actual facts from the actual episodes. Let's go ahead and continue on with this. So, Celestia is a terrible ruler, at least in my book. Maybe you might have a different opinion, but seriously, the decisions that Celestia made is just terrible. Plus, one of the questions I actually have written on this sticky note here is there a higher power than Celestia? I mean, there's a Tartarus and there is a heaven, so I would have to imagine that there could be. Plus, what happened to Celestia and Luna's parents? That never gets explained. So, plus they choose the title as princess. They say that you can actually have a choice to keep your title as princess and you don't have to go up as queen, even though you do queenly duties. But yet, is there actually a queen that surpasses Celestia? And if so, how come we haven't seen her yet? And in the beta version of My Little Pony: Friendship is Magic, you can actually see in the pitch Bible that she was actually supposed to be a queen. She was supposed to be Queen Selena. And yet, because of Disney, freaking Disney, it's been said that Queen is seen as someone of evil when Queen... No. Wow. No. I'm sorry, but that's all I can say is no. A quick intermission here. I was planning on cutting out some of the stuff I said after I said I didn't like Celestia, but I decided to keep it in. Anyway, so getting back on topic, because it sounded more like a fan quibble than an actual talk about, where it's actually using factual facts of the show and what the writers say and all that. So my personal opinions on the side. Let's continue talking about this episode. Current events right now. So anyway, another thing that was pretty intriguing is that, as soon as Tirek drains away magic from a pony, you notice that their eyes turn pale and their cutie mark gets lost. Now, they stuck with the cutie mark getting lost, and this wasn't the first time. That it happens quite a bit, actually. But this time it's actually completely intentional. Anyway, so they lose their cutie mark, and then all of a sudden their eyes turn pale. So with this in mind, not only that, but they also turn weak as soon as they, have their magic drained. So this brings up the question, why not the main six? It may only make sense that main six and Discord for that matter to have the same effect. True, their eyes did turn pale at some point, but then they turned back to normal. Not only that, but they were also the only ones with the actual strength to continue moving. And now I'm going to get comments like, but the magic of friendship and they're the elements of harmony and blah 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 blah. You're forgetting that Celestia and Luna also are a part of the Tree of Harmony, because if you look at the Tree of Harmony, you can actually see Celestia and Luna's cutie mark, which was actually a question that never got answered to begin with as well. But they're the original holders of the elements of harmony, so it only makes sense, right? I'll give you that one, but it still feels like I need to ask that question. Why are they there? If Fluttershy, Rainbow Dash, Pinkie Pie, Rarity, Twilight, and Applejack are in the elements of harmony themselves. And plus, we didn't actually see the sun and the moon cutie mark until we look at the roots. And that pretty much answers the question, but it's still a good answer. It's still a good question nonetheless. Any theorists out there, go ahead and go crazy on that one. Anyway, so back to the topic. Pretty much the main six and what's his face? I completely forgot his name. Discord. Are the only ones with enough energy to actually move around and stuff, while every pony else stayed idle, like completely idle. Even the princesses stayed idle because they're so weak to move. Which, again, why? Not only that, but also when the spark of their when Twilight got their key, you notice that their eyes did change. So we can put that into consideration, but again, that's just speculation. And then when it came to the point where they got rainbow power, then everything made sense on why they got their eye colors back. But once again, why were they really the only ones that can move around? Well, of course, Ex Machina. Everything is answered in Ex Machina, which was one of the biggest problems of this entire episode. Or rather, these two episodes, was it all relied too much on Ex Machina. We must rid ourselves of magic so that way Twilight can save us. We must... Discord has betrayed us because he missed his feeling of freedom, which I don't blame him there. If you haven't seen that fan quibble, yeah. Anyway, I threw Twilight into a freaking rock all because I want her to see the magic of friendship. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry, but this was seriously the biggest irk I had with this entire episode. And it's really the biggest thing that ruined it for me. You can keep the song, you can keep the animation errors, you can keep the fact that they were the only ones that were able to move despite the fact that they had their magic drained. You can keep the fact that you can keep everything else in there. Just remove that part. And then just remove that part. I mean, even will accept that her freaking friends escaped that jail that they can clearly walk out of and go out to Twilight, and then Discord hands her his key. Then guess what? I would have accepted this episode. But damn it. I'm sorry, but that just really ruins it for me. That one scene, I just can't get over it. But on a lighter note, I wonder how they're going to be using rainbow power or the elements in the future. Now, their friendship stays strong even without the elements, because the elements were just simply symbolic. But the thing is, though, without the elements of harmony, A, they cannot summon Discord. B, if there's a disaster, then what? They have to rely on either rainbow power or the elements of harmony, because the show says so. C, oh wait, I think I know how they're going to be doing it, but of course that's just a thought. But they could actually possibly unlock it through the castle. And that was another thing, the castle. I completely forgot about this. The castle wasn't really too much of a didn't really bother me too much, except for the fact that Celestia apparently knows the ins and outs of the castle, even though never being inside in the first place. But I digress on that. And the thing about the castle, though, is that I can imagine how annoying it is for any pony living in Ponyville, because the fact that, think this castle is made out of pure crystal. So, in fact, how uncomfortable would sitting in a throne of crystal be? And even though I'm not supposed to be saying this, but in the second Equestria Girls movie, you can see that they added pillows inside those on those chairs, so they have a nice cushion on them. But anyway, also, you have to imagine how cold and scary that castle can be, because when it was just a little library, it was made of wood, it had a lot of warmth, it was small enough, cozy even, very welcome, and in a way it kind of was symbolic. Dr. Wolf can explain this better than I can, but yeah, it was pretty much symbolic. Or sorry, it was either Dr. Wolf or Digibro that said that. But anyway, yeah, it was very symbolic, and it was warm, cozy. It represented a perfect little centerpiece to a little town. And now we have this big humongous castle with big humongous hallways. And not only that, but also since it's made of pure crystal, the you can imagine like some of the light that bounces off of it would just shine all over Ponyville, and now Ponyville's blinded. And then over at night, by the moon, oh my gosh. And then also inside the castle with the dark hallways and everything, possibly even without any electricity, it gets really cold in there, and you can hear yourself echo and all of that. Well, then again, with the castle, or then again, you can always decorate it to look pretty. But again, this castle is a little bit, I wouldn't really want to live in a castle at all. Period. But I guess if Twilight's okay with it, then it's whatever. But anyway, so my question for this episode really is how is Twilight going to be taking her new role as Princess of Friendship? Like, would it be pretty much like the entire season 4 where she practically ignores the fact that she's an alicorn until the end? Or would it be more or less like she actually takes her role a bit more seriously, because we had an entire freaking song about it? But pretty much, is she going to be taking her role more seriously, or is she going to be ignoring the fact that she's an alicorn princess like she did in season 4? Until, the last episode and the very first episode. And she's just going to go with the flow, smile and wave, blah, 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 blah. Or is she actually going to be, hopefully a better ruler than Celestia? Which is something that I really worry about. If she's going to follow in Celestia's hoof steps, she better do it in the right hoof steps, because there are a lot of directions misleading her way into a wrong direction. Is the protege of Princess Celestia. Oh boy. Let's just hope she does everything right this time. Then again, she has an entire council of friends. Hopefully they will point her to the right direction. But hope she doesn't turn the entire kingdom into turmoil. Wait, before the video ends, there's one more thing I gotta point out. This is the map of Equestria, the map that I got when I first moved in. And now this is a picture of an overview during the time of Rainbow Power. Now, even though it's common for maps to put in the disclaimer, not up to scale, however, this is actually a very accurate rendition of Equestria. I can honestly learn a thing or two whoever made this map. It's pretty impressive.